My family made a scene to disown me, saying, "You're a disgrace to us." They didn't know that I had a secret business that would change everything. I packed my things and left. They showed me on television this morning, and they begged me to come back. It was an autumn evening in Chicago. The cool air and the smell of roasted turkey couldn't mask the tension hanging in the house. Family dinner. Mum, Dad, my sister Emily with her husband and kids. Everyone was gathered around the table. But it wasn't a celebration. It was a trial. I felt a premonition tighten in my chest. They were up to something. The clinking of glasses broke the silence. Dad poured wine. Mum cleared her throat, beginning a speech that sent a chill through me. "Jake," she said, her voice unnaturally soft, "we want to talk about your life." "About my life?" I asked, trying to stay calm, even though everything was tense inside. "Yes, about your life," Emily chimed in with her usual exasperation. "You're a disgrace to our family." The words hit like ice shards. "Embarrassing?" "Embarrassing?" I asked, no longer hiding my surprise and indignation. "Yes," Emily blurted out. "You dropped out of university, you don't work, you live in a hole. We can't take this anymore." The blood rushed to his face. "A hole? They never tried to understand me." "I have everything under control," I replied. "Although I wasn't sure. Everything will change soon, and the project is about to bear fruit. But how can I explain it to them?" "Under control?" Mom's laugh sounded harsh. "You can't even pay the rent." "We know, Jake. We all know." I lowered my eyes. How do they know? Shame and humiliation overwhelmed me. "We've decided that you need to leave," said Dad, who had been silent until then. His voice was quiet but firm. "We can't support you anymore." "Leave? Where to? Disown me?" I looked at them. Mom with a stony face, Emily with a triumphant look, Dad with sad but unyielding eyes. "Okay," I said, getting up. "You'll regret it." "We won't regret it," Mum snapped. I turned around and walked out. I went up to my old room. I packed my things. The laptop is the only valuable thing. The laptop where my secret was kept. On my way down, I glanced briefly at the dining room. They were still sitting at the table. It was like I wasn't there. The pain of betrayal pierced me. I went out, slamming the door. The autumn wind blew across my face. This is the last time I've seen them like this. This is the last time I feel like a part of this family. I went out into the night to prove them wrong. They didn't know about my secret business. They only saw the outer shell. But behind it was a Herculean job. Back at university, I got carried away with the idea of a financial app. Analytical mindset, love of numbers. I was annoyed by the randomness of financial instruments. I saw a need for a simple application for cost control and budget planning. At night, instead of having fun, I immersed myself in programming. He studied languages, financial analysis, and developed algorithms. It's been a long and difficult journey. Mistakes, disappointments, but something inside wouldn't let me give up. He worked in secret. I was afraid of ridicule, criticism, misunderstanding, especially families. I knew they wouldn't believe me. They'll consider it a whim. Therefore, he kept silent, worked alone, investing everything. And it worked. The app was taking shape. User-friendly interface, advanced functionality, precise algorithms. I tested it, collected reviews, and corrected it. A month after leaving home, when the money was running out, when despair was approaching, a miracle happened. A representative of a large technology company found my application on the internet. We tested it and were impressed. We saw the potential. Negotiations, sleepless nights, and the deal is done. The app was bought for millions. Success, wealth, fame, life turned upside down. But he didn't tell his family. Not right away. I wanted you to understand. We saw success. They realized the mistake. They regretted it. And he knew how to do it. I was shown on television this morning. Jake was sitting in the dressing room, waiting for the broadcast. There was a lot of fuss. Makeup artists were fixing his hair. Stylists were picking up clothes. Assistants were running around with headphones and microphones. Jake felt a little out of place in this world of glitz and glamour. He was used to the silence and privacy of his apartment, to the code and lines of programs, and not to the bright spotlights and cameras. But he knew it was necessary. It was his chance to show the whole world, and first of all his family, what he had achieved. His interview was supposed to be broadcast on one of the country's largest channels, in prime time, in a program watched by millions of viewers. He was interviewed on one of the largest channels. The host, known for his sharp tongue and ability to bring out the guests to frankness, asked him questions about his success, about his application, about his path to wealth. Jake talked about his success, how he started from scratch, without connections, without support, and achieved everything on his own. He talked about the difficulties and obstacles he had to overcome, about sleepless nights, about failures and disappointments. But he didn't talk about his family, not directly. He only hinted that at the beginning of his journey, he had to face misunderstanding and rejection from his loved ones. He knew they were watching. He imagined Mom and Dad sitting in front of the television in their cozy home in Chicago. As Emily and Mark watched the show with them, he saw their faces, their surprise, their shock, their confusion. He enjoyed the anticipation. It was his revenge. Sweet revenge for humiliation and resentment. An hour after the broadcast, when Jake had already returned to his apartment and was trying to recover from a busy day, the phone rang. He looked at the screen. An unfamiliar number. He hesitated whether to answer or not, but curiosity got the better of him. "Hello?" he said. "Jake?" A trembling voice came on the line. He recognized the voice immediately. It was Mom. "Mom?" Jake asked, even though he already knew who was calling. "Jake, is that you? We saw you on television." Mom's voice trembled even more, almost breaking into tears. "We're so proud of you." Are they proud? After all they've said, after all they've done, are they saying they're proud of him? Hypocrisy. Disgusting hypocrisy. "Are you proud?" Jake chuckled. There was sarcasm and bitterness in his voice. "You disowned me, remember? You kicked me out of the house. You said I was embarrassing you. And now you're suddenly proud?" There was silence on the line. Jake could only hear his mom's heavy breathing. "We were wrong, Jake," Dad finally said. His voice sounded muffled, as if he was speaking from afar. "We were wrong. We did a terrible thing. Please come back." Come back? After everything that's happened? To return to their lives as if nothing had happened? Forget about humiliation, pain, betrayal? No, that's impossible. It's too late. "No," Jake replied, his voice as hard and cold as ice. "You're not my family anymore." And he hung up, without waiting for an answer. He knew it was cruel, but he couldn't do anything else. The wound was too deep, the resentment was too strong. They called a few more times, but I didn't answer. He saw missed calls on his phone screen but ignored them. He blocked their numbers so that he could no longer hear their voices. He knew they would regret it, but he didn't know it would hurt so much. It hurts not only them, but also him. Deep down, he still hoped for reconciliation, for forgiveness. But pride, resentment, and a thirst for revenge were stronger. A few months later, when the noise around his success had subsided a little, when life had settled into a calmer channel, Jake's mother called. This time, he didn't ignore the call. He knew that if Mom called again, it meant something serious had happened. "Jake?" Mom's voice was full of despair and tears. "Dad had a heart attack. He's in the hospital. Please come. I'm begging you." "A heart attack? Dad?" Jake felt his heart tighten with pain and anxiety. Despite everything that had happened, despite his resentment and anger, he still loved his parents. And Dad was always a support for him, an example, a man whom he respected and appreciated. I hesitated but decided to go. I didn't hesitate for long. Despite all the pain and resentment, he couldn't just leave Dad in trouble. Family ties, no matter how broken they were, still meant something to him. When I came to the hospital, they greeted me with smiles. Mom and Emily were standing in the hallway, waiting for him. They looked exhausted and aged. When they saw Jake, they rushed to him, hugging and kissing him. They thought I had forgiven them. They thought that his arrival meant reconciliation. "Jake," Mom said, hugging me tightly, as if afraid to let go. "We're so glad you're here. So glad." "I'm not here for you," Jake said coldly, pulling away from his mum. His voice sounded harsh and distant, like a whip being struck. "I'm here for Dad." The smiles on their faces instantly faded. They fell silent, lowering their eyes. A heavy silence hung in the air, broken only by the quiet ticking of the clock on the wall. I went over to Dad's bed. Dad was lying in bed, connected to the machines. He looked weak and pale, But when he saw Jake, a faint smile appeared on his face. "Jake," he said weakly, "you've arrived. I'm so glad. I'm so proud of you." "It's too late," Jake replied, looking down at his father. "You have lost the right to be proud of me. You disowned me when I needed your support. It's too late now." He turned around and left. Without saying another word, without looking back, he could hear his mum and Emily shouting after him, begging him to stay, begging him to forgive them. But he didn't turn around. He knew that this was the end of his relationship with his family, the end of his hopes for reconciliation. He lost them, but they lost him much earlier. That night, at a family dinner in Chicago, now I live alone, in a big, empty house. I have money, fame, success, everything that many people dream of, but I don't have a family. Sometimes at night, when the silence gets especially oppressive, I think about what could have happened if they had just supported me, if they believed in me, if they hadn't renounced. But it doesn't matter anymore. This is the past. They made their choice, and I made mine, and there is no turning back, just emptiness and loneliness, and memories of a family dinner in Chicago, which was the beginning of the end. Share your story. Have you ever faced betrayal from those closest to you? How did you overcome it? Let's talk about family, boundaries, and finding strength in the hardest moments. Drop your thoughts below. Let's support each other. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to hit that like button and share your own experiences in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going.